So welcome to Four Directions Yoga Studio online yoga class. Today I'm going to do some exercises to show some postures and practices that relate to benefiting the neck, shoulders, elbows, and wrists, particularly around tendonitis. So a lot of people are at home and spending a lot of time sitting and working on a computer. And this is also a rather stressful time. So I think the extra stress we may feel with regard to the pandemic and how our global community is responding may exacerbate tension and stress that already is in the shoulders and the neck and the arms. So we're going to start with lying on the ground. And our practice is based on the principles of mindfulness, grounding, releasing tension, dropping tension, connecting to the movement of breath as very central, and to releasing and lengthening the spine. This is based on the work of Gladys Scarabelli and Esther Myers. So when we look at releasing the body and addressing something like tendonitis in the body, or discomfort in the shoulders and arms, we're not trying to fix things. We're trying to let the body heal itself. We're trying to set up the conditions that let the body integrate and heal itself by going back to a sense of alignment that is natural for the body, that our prolonged period of sitting or maybe being on the computer or using tools for too long has reversed. So we want to go back to that original sense of the body's integrity and ability to heal itself. So we'll start with lying on the floor, and it's really important that the curves of the spine be elongated. So in this practice, we're not looking at a straight back, a straight spine, sit up straight. We don't do that. We're allowing the curves of the spine to be natural. There's an inward curve at the back of the neck, a slight outward curve for the upper back, a slight inward curve for the lower back, and the back of the pelvis has an outward curve and the tailbone goes in. Those are the natural curves of the spine. When they get shortened either through injury or repetitive strain, then there's problems from the spine. There's problems for the shoulders, there's problems for the elbows, the wrists, and the hands. I often think about a marionette, a puppet, where the strings get pulled from the up above, and then the arms of the puppet move. We're not puppets, we're built similarly though, in the sense that if the vertebral column is out of alignment, then the muscles where they connect to the bones, those tendons are stressed if something's out of alignment. So we're trying to allow the body to go back to its natural alignment. So as I said before, we're going to start with lying on the floor with the knees bent and feet on the floor and feet about hip width apart. If the feet are too close together, it takes a lot of effort in the body to hold the legs together. When we already are holding tension in the body, we might not realize that we're doing this with effort, that having the feet together takes effort. So we're trying to release effort and drop tension. So bring the feet about hip width apart, and I encourage people to put their hands on their belly or abdomen, and then breathe diaphragmatically, which means you inhale into the belly, and the belly comes forward. And as you exhale, the belly sinks back. So the diaphragm is a muscle that sits just below the lungs. The lungs ride on the diaphragm, attach to the diaphragm. And as we inhale, the diaphragm moves down. So the belly makes room for it and moves forward. And as we exhale, the belly moves back, which supports the diaphragm going up, so breath is expelled from the lungs. That's diaphragmatic breathing. So inhaling and exhaling. And just keep doing that. We'll be here for a few minutes. This is a fairly slow video, so I find working slowly and mindfully when we're in chronic pain or acute pain is extremely important. on many, many levels. So inhaling, letting the belly fill with breath, exhaling, letting the belly sink back. If this posture with elbows bent is problematic for you, it hurts your elbows, then lie with your arms on the floor. Your palms can be up or down. It doesn't matter, but they have to be comfortable. And if that hurts your elbows, then support your arms with some cushions or blankets or towels, whatever you have in your home that allows you to feel pain-free in terms of props. So you can have a blanket or a pillow under your elbow and your hand on your belly, or you might just have this pillow or blanket at the side with your arm on the side. Okay, so it's important to have that sense of pain-free. I'll just push that out of the way. So just stay there, breathing into the belly as you inhale, feel the belly fill with breath, and as you exhale, feel the belly drop back. You might allow the belly to fill with breath on the inhalation and pause, and then exhale and allow the belly to sink way back. There's no effort involved in this. We are extending the inhalation, the exhalation a little bit, but gently. You go deeper by being gentler with the body. So try that a few more times, inhaling and exhaling. And stay with this, and I'll just explain a little bit more, but stay with this diaphragmatic breathing. The other benefit of diaphragmatic breathing like this is it starts to strengthen and initiate strengthening of the deep core muscles of the body. The ones that are very close to the spine. Those are the muscles that support us. So in this yoga practice, when we're working with the core muscles, we're not looking at hard, tight muscles. They are not strong muscles. Strong muscles are fluid, dynamic, and they're the deeper muscles of the body. They're called the slow twitch muscles. We need to work slowly to access them. And we do that through breathing. This is such an opposite way of working to some of the more physically strenuous practices, which have their own benefits. But we're working very slowly, gently, and deeply to heal the body here, to help the body heal itself. So one more time, inhaling into the belly, exhaling, letting the belly sink back. The other benefit for long, slow, deep breathing like this is it's said to help release the cranial nerve, the vagus nerve, which is part of the stress release response. Then we're going to start to let the knees drop. And we let the knees drop to the left and take 2 or 3 breaths, those deep breaths again. That breath that we just did at the beginning is central throughout this practice. Then when you take your knees to the right, let the right knee go to the right first and allow the left leg to follow. And then let the knees drop to the right and take another 2 or 3 breaths. And wait and let the body release. Feel the body dropping to the ground with gravity. And then exhaling, let the left leg go back to the left and let the right leg follow. I tell students sometimes that this is one of the hardest exercises we do in yoga practice because it asks us to look at how we hold tension in the body and our relationship to our bodies. We often overwork our bodies. Exhale and take the right knee back to the right and let the left leg follow. So we are not doing this. We're not taking the legs from side to side together. That is effort, too much effort, and it works the superficial muscles. We're trying to work the deeper muscles. So we're not taking the legs from side to side like this or moving that quickly. The body does not have a chance to integrate release. We're dropping the knees to the right, waiting, feeling the levels of tension in the body, letting go. It takes time. Exhale, let the left leg go back to the left, and the right leg will follow. If this is hard to do because you think it's too slow, you need to do this. Exhale, let the right leg go back to the right and the left leg to follow. The one thing this time of social distancing has taught me is we have nowhere to go often. If we're lucky and we don't have to go to work in a very stressful environment like so many of our frontline workers do, and they're amazing, we have the opportunity to slow down, and we need to slow down. So the next one to do is taking the knees to the chest. Now, if your arms are very sore here, this holding of your knees might be too difficult and too painful on your arms. So you can just let your arms drop to the sides, and you can circle the legs here, and it's a very languid movement. Okay, we're circling the legs, and you might wonder, what does this all have to do with the arms and shoulders? Our core area at the pelvis, belly, abdomen, navel point is central in the body, and that is the support for everything else. If the core area is disengaged, is not activated, it's very difficult to support the shoulders in proper and upper back in proper alignment. So we're circling the knees here, inhaling as the knees move away, exhaling, and you see my legs are not together. They're kind of falling a little bit away from each other, and so there's very little effort involved here. Then on one of the passes, you can let your legs go to the left, knees toward the chest. So the first knee drops we did was feet on the floor, and that is just to get us started with the lower back releasing and the belly and abdomen releasing. This one is knees into the chest. This is harder. It asks our upper backs to start to move and to release. And a lot of problems with neck, shoulders, elbows, and wrist pain, tendon pain, is the upper back is too tight. So inhale deeply, exhale, we're going to take the right knee back to the right and the left leg follows, and you go back to the other side. And then wait 2 or 3 breaths. And then exhale and back. So notice my arm position, my arms are on the floor. If this is really not possible because you have a lot of tension in your shoulders, then you get a pillow or blanket or towel, something, and you bring it under your arms like this. We really are trying not to have the shoulder falling, hinging, the arm hinging off the shoulder. So now the arm is supported by this bolster, and it's not hanging. So we do not want the arm to do this. We don't want this space between the shoulder and the floor. That is going to contribute to tendon problems. We want the shoulder to be supported if your arm cannot stay on the floor. So you may have to have 2 bolsters or pillows or towels or blankets on each side. And then the arm can release and ground. Remember at the beginning I talked about the principle of grounding. So then take your knees from side to side. So I'm going to move this bolster away so you can see better. So you exhale and let the knees drop to the left and wait. And feel the body. You know, the body is in pain. It's asking us to pay attention. But we often work too hard and we push through a lot of pain. And the body keeps trying to ask us to pay attention. So the next time your legs are on the left, we can leave them there. And when our legs go to the side, we're not trying to stack them up neatly. If they slide apart, that's fine. And then this arm, my right arm, so I have a pillow under my head still. You should have a pillow or blanket under your head. Take the right arm, and as you exhale, it comes up to the ceiling, and you go over to the left, and lengthen the right arm out past the left hand, and then inhale and exhale and bring it back. This movement is pretty central for shoulder, neck, and elbow problems. And if it's impossible to do for some reason, please send me a message and let me know. So if you've really injured your left shoulder and this line on the left shoulder is not possible, you don't have to do that. You can take your right arm up to where you feel it's okay and then bring your right arm back down. We're just trying to figure out where can we move in a way that releases the body from pain. We're trying to listen to the body. So if you're okay with lying on the left shoulder, you take your right arm up and over and exhale, lengthen it out past the left fingertips. And then inhale and exhale. And another way to move the arm is to trail the fingers along the arm, across the collarbones, and back over to the right. And again, if this right arm doesn't come to the ground easily, if it's hinging and my whole arm is not on the ground, you need a pillow underneath that arm. I see a lot of this in students, and I'll show you from the left side so you can see. I see a lot of people with their hand on the floor, the arm and the shoulder off the floor, and we'll ask them to drop their arm on the floor, and they actually think this is on the floor. This is not on the floor, this is hanging in space. This is on the floor. So if your arm doesn't release to the floor, you take that bolster, again, or the pillow or towel or blanket, and support the arm so it's grounding. And then you can take the arm up and over to the other side, and inhale and exhale and bring the arm back. So far we've looked at two ways of moving this arm. One is up to the ceiling and over to the right, and lengthen the arm out past the right one. And then inhale and exhale. And as you come back, you feel the right shoulder blade come to the floor, the center of your back come to the floor, the left shoulder blade comes to the floor, and then the arm. The body is designed to move in a very jointed and articulate way. When we're stressed, we spend way too much time in one position, like at a desk. The connective tissue of the body gets very, very stiff, and it has lesions. That's when we have problems. So we're trying to wake up that natural release of the connective tissues of the body. So you take your arm up and over to the back behind you, and inhale and exhale. Let it drop onto the floor completely. And again, if it doesn't release to the floor, if the floor is just under your hand, support your arm with a bolster, pillow, cushion. Inhale, exhale, and take the arm up again. Another way of moving the arm is in a circle. Sorry, I was going to move the bolster here. I'll move the bolster out of the way again so you can see. So if my knees are on the right, they're into the chest and over to the right. I can take my left arm down by my hip, out past the right fingers, sweep it in a big circle all the way around. This can be really painful, and you might not be ready for that one yet. I hurt my shoulder a while ago. I can't remember what I did. Probably related to my upper back being out of alignment, and this was excruciating, so I didn't do the full circle. I did what I could do, which was probably something, if I remember correctly, like this. So if you can do that circle and not have your right arm on the floor behind you, that's okay. But remember to have your head supported. So there's this movement, this big, rainbow type movement, arching movement. There's taking the fingers along the arm, across the collarbones and over. And there's sweeping it in big circles. So now, for a couple of minutes, I'll keep talking about this, but you go at your own pace. Take your legs to the other side. And wait, exhale, feel your arms. Are they on the floor? Do you need a bolster under your arms? And then you take your arm up and over and lengthen the arm out. And inhale and exhale and release the arm back. And then let it sweep down by the hip, around in big circles. Just see what you feel like doing here. It's very important to change sides when you're ready to feel your own body and to move at your own pace. I give students, we teach in a class, when we're able to have a full yoga class again, that'll be great. But when we teach in a class, we'll have 2 or 3 exercises that people are doing at their own pace. So take your time. Try those 3 types of movements, the arching movement, and wait, and pause. Let the arm drop. Feel that your arms can be heavy. Sometimes people will do this, they'll move continuously. This is way too fast. Your body cannot integrate this. You gotta move slowly. The body has its own rhythm, and it is slower than thinking. It is slower, the body's movement and processing rate is slower than the rate of the thinking brain. It's important to respect that. So when you're on the side at one point, let your arms at shoulder height, and try some of those deep belly breaths here. Inhaling into the belly, and exhale. And you might notice that as you do that, this shoulder, my knees are on the right, the left shoulder drops. That shows us, that's an instant where we feel what happens in the belly and abdomen affects the shoulder. And then we're going to come back. And try that on the other side. Let the knees rest. And take a deep breath. And when you're supported by the ground, your body is in alignment here. Your breath, you're breathing deeply. Your body can integrate this alignment. When I teach yoga, I see people lie on the floor with their feet on the floor and their knees bent, and their posture is amazing. The spine is long, the head position is not forward, it's back properly, everything's lined up. This tells us the body can do good posture, good alignment. When we stand or sit, our old habit patterns, our old injuries, how we relate to the body under stress, that all comes up for us in an unconscious way. So another arm movement to do lying down is you bring your legs, your feet to the floor again. Inhale deeply and exhale. And then we're going to take the right arm up and over toward the floor behind you and turn your head to the left. Then we're going to inhale and exhale and bring the right arm down and the left arm up and turn your head to the right. And then take the left arm down and the right arm up and turn your head to the left. So you're turning your head away from the arm that's coming up and over. Now, if that is not comfortable on your shoulder, that movement of your arm overhead, then you need a pillow, a blanket, bolster, something, combination behind you so that your arm is not straining. We do not want to stress the tendons any more than they are already. So you turn your head to the left as your right arm comes up and over. Inhale and exhale, and then come back and turn your head to the right. And then go back again. Watch your breathing. Make sure you're not holding your breath. Do this as long as you'd like. Feel how the body feels. So what this does is it educates the neck and shoulders that they are separate from each other. When we sit in front of a computer too long or drive too long, it's too stationary. The connective tissue in this area of the body gets very tight and it adheres to itself, to each other, to other aspects of connective tissue. The fibers of connective tissue adhere to each other. So everything gets locked up, and then the poor muscles and tendons get overstressed. Okay, so one more time, if that's okay with you, and then we'll bring the arms overhead. So I'll just leave them on the pillow here because it's comfortable. And we're going to do the beginning of bridge pose. So you're going to inhale, and as you exhale, you press down through the feet so that the pelvis is rocked. We're not clenching the buttocks here or anything like that. We're inhaling deeply, and on an exhalation, we drop through the feet and we rock the pelvis by grounding the feet. And you'll feel the tailbone come up a little bit, the back of the pelvis starts to come off the floor, and then you inhale and exhale and release. Inhale, exhale, drop down through the feet and let the pelvis rock. Again, this might not appear to have much to do with the neck, shoulders, and arms. It has a lot to do with them because we're working with the core again. And we're slowly allowing the body to ground through the shoulders, to release the shoulders. So you come up onto the shoulders, and then you can inhale and exhale and come back down. And inhale and exhale and release and come up onto the shoulders again, and then release and come down. And then we can draw the knees back to the chest and let the knees drop from side to side. A good yoga practice is often very repetitive, and it circles back to things that we did earlier. The body is not linear, so why should our yoga practice be linear? Let me back and forth a bit. And remember to let the legs fall apart, and to pause when you come to the side. And to breathe. Watch when you're breathing, as you're moving, that you're not inhaling and holding the breath and then moving. We're exhaling when we're moving. Exhalation breath lengthens the spine, releases tension from the body. So we're going to come back to the center. We're going to come up, and we're going to stay off of our arms for now because we're going to assume that they're very painful. And we're not going to bear weight on our wrists. By the way, I haven't introduced Yogi Betty yet. She's over here. This is her new yoga posture that she really seems to like. And I just thought she was a good symbol for this yoga class, which is about helping the body restore itself and resting. So Betty is an expert. Yogi Betty is my little yoga expert. Another posture that we're going to do a couple times in this class, because it's repetitive, is called Shavasana 2, or Relaxation Pose 2. And this one, you have, you can do this with a rolled blanket, a thick blanket, if you don't have one of these yoga bolsters. I think it's really good not to get attached to having to have the perfect props or the perfect yoga mat. I really like what we can use, what is available. So we are many sizes and degrees of flexibility and shapes. So when you set your equipment up, you may need to alter it because you have to really pay attention to how your lower back feels here. So I brought this bolster up against the back of my pelvis, and then you're going to lie back over the bolster and have your knees bent, and your hips are on the floor, not on the bolster. Your hips are on the floor. The bolster supports and opens the chest, and your arms are at the sides, and you need to have your head supported. You need to have your head supported so that the neck is long. Because if the neck is shortened, this is shortening the neck. If the neck is shortened, all the curves of the spine shorten, and then your neck and shoulders, elbows, and wrists get into trouble. So then the arms are open here. Now, if this is painful for your elbows, get other cushions and supports under the elbows and under the arms here. So you might not be able to bring your arms to the ground. You might be able to. But the benefit of this is it starts to open the chest and the collarbone area. And then you can inhale and exhale here. And if this is the only yoga posture you do at the beginning of this practice, when you start to heal yourself, this is all you have to do. You start with what feels right for you. If your lower back is okay, you can stretch your legs out. You have to pay attention to how your body feels. For some people, this posture is too compressive on the lower spine, and they need either move down a way, so it's a gentler curve here in the lower back, or bend their knees and bring their feet to the floor. If you slide down, remember to support your head and neck. And then practice that long, deep breathing again, that inhaling into the belly, ribs, chest, and the exhaling. Inhaling, letting the belly come forward, and exhaling, letting the belly sink back. And stay there for a little bit. Another point about this posture that's very important is in your collarbones, just below the collarbone, there's a space called the thoracic outlet. When people get carpal tunnel problems and also tendon problems, this space is occluded from that forward position of being on a computer. So this posture is really helpful for beginning to open this whole area up. You can stay there as long as you'd like. As I said, if this is the only posture you want to do in the whole class, that's fabulous. So I'm going to get up, I'm going to roll to the side and come up. And just be careful of your hands and wrists when you come up if they're very painful. So we're going to try a couple of things for shoulders. You can either do this standing or sitting. There's rolling shoulders. And you can hear lots of cracks sometimes in our bodies. You can roll one shoulder at a time. You can roll the shoulders back or forward. And then there's arm movements with this. You can round the arms forward or back, and you're going to go slowly. There is some pain involved sometimes when we start to move, so you're going to try to find where that's a minimum. But movement by feeling the spine, by feeling the back of the body undulating. Maybe start with, there's a posture we do in yoga called cat pose, with hands on the floor, rounding the spine up and dipping down. But if your wrists and elbows are very sore and they're burning with tendonitis, you do not do that. So you can do sitting cat pose of rounding the spine forward and taking the chest forward and the spine back. So sitting cat pose is really important because it starts to get that upper back to move. And as I said at the beginning, we get into trouble with the shoulders, elbows, and wrists when our upper back doesn't move. So rounding and dipping. And again, if this is the only exercise you want to do in this practice, this is all you have to do. It's just that sitting cat pose is a really good exercise because what it does, it's something that we can do. Say you're waiting for the kettle to boil to make a cup of tea. You can do cat pose, standing or sitting, while you're waiting for the kettle to boil. So you can do a lot of these yoga movements throughout the day, when you're waiting for something. So another movement to try then, we did shoulder rolls, is shoulder shrugging. Inhale and exhale. Again, go very slowly and gently in the body, exploring those movements. And then there's a combination of cat pose and shoulder rolling. So you feel your body and you feel your spine as you take your back, your back, and then move your back and roll your shoulders. And then roll your shoulders forward and round the spine. And then take the chest back forward and roll the shoulders. So think about when a pebble drops in a pond, the action of the water moving is focused on where the pebble drops, and then it ripples out. So we're trying to feel that our spine is like our vertebral column spine is the center of movement, and then the movement that goes into the shoulders and arms ripples out from there. And so round the spine, and then take the spine forward, shoulders, and then let the arms release. And then take the spine the other direction and let the shoulders and the arms come in. And then take the spine forward and let the chest open and the shoulders and the arms go back out again. And this may seem so basic and so elementary that you might think, well, how can I possibly do this? It's so slow. We need to slow down. Everything is moving so fast in this world at times that slowing down is a big challenge. And so feel the spine move first, and then the shoulders, and then the arms, and then take the spine the other way, and feel the shoulders, and then the arms, and you only move to the degree that you're comfortable. So then we can come to standing, and we'll use the wall, and again, you have to stay with your tolerance for this. Some people find this might be too much at the beginning for some people, but really it's just your tolerance, and I'll show you a couple things to try. So you bring your hand, you're standing up, so there's very little weight on your hand. You might not be able to bring the palm to the wall, depending on your level of comfort or discomfort in your wrist. You might only be able to bring your fingertips to the wall and come away. And very slowly, carefully, mindfully, respecting your body, see about bringing your arm up, and then see about bringing your arm back down. We're trying to open this area called the thoracic outlet that I mentioned before. So when we've had a shoulder injury, a back injury, or whiplash, or we're at a desk too long, or use tools, this gets occluded, and that causes a lot of discomfort in the rest of the arm. So we're going to try to allow that space to become bigger, more open, by using the wall. And if this is easy to do for you, then you're really close to the wall, and you take your arm up and around and back. But if I did that and to ask someone to do that and they're in a lot of pain, they'll just go, I can't do that, I can't do yoga. So you're not going to do that. You're going to take your arm to the wall, palm facing the wall, and see where you can go. Maybe you have to stand way out here and just do little movements like this. Maybe this is where you start. And maybe this is where you start on this side. Just tiny little movements. Maybe what you need to do is just stand with your hand touching the wall a little bit and then bring it back down. And then come a little closer to the wall possibly, and then bring it away. Remember, the process we're looking at is healing the body, not really doing it's not about having to do this yoga movement or yoga posture. It's about finding what helps our bodies heal. I think that's it. And then the other side again. So go back and forth. Please feel that you don't just have to do one side, then the other side, and that's it. You're going by sensation. You're going by feeling in the body. And then coming back, and then rolling the shoulders again, and those spinal undulations. When people have problems with their shoulders, elbows, and wrists, what often happens is the core isn't used. We're sitting so much, so this gets weak, and then we are at a computer, and the shoulders and neck get tight, the upper back gets tight, so we slump forward. The core is weak, and so if you look at where my shoulder is here, it's way forward where it should be. And then if I do something with it, the muscles are pulling at the tendons, which attach the muscle tapers to a tendon, attaches to a joint. The muscle is pulling on that tendon, and it hurts. So we need to be able to see about how can we naturally, without force, allow the shoulders and the neck and the upper back to have better alignment. And and they need to have support from the core, which we have through breathing. Inhale and exhale, and that supports the core, and then the neck and the shoulders come into better alignment. So it's not about keeping the back straight, it's not about pulling the chest up and the spine down. We don't want to try to find alignment through tension. So if I have tension in my chest and I force my chest to be open, then all I've done is I've still got tension in the chest, and now I've got tension in my back as well. So we're relaxing, we're dropping tension, connecting to the breath, feeling the body drop into the ground so the spine can lengthen up and then the shoulders can relax. Then another exercise to try might be standing cat pose. If you can tolerate this, you bring your hands to the wall and you walk back a little bit, and then you undulate your spine here. This might be too strong, so just say there's a wall here. We'll say there's a wall in my hands, and then you're going to try undulating the spine here. That might be too much for you. See what you can do first. And so if I was on the wall, I'm here, around the back, up, and tip the chest in. Make sure your hands feel okay with that. If there's any pain in the wrist, that might not be a good day for that. Okay, so that's a few exercises to do. We're going to come back now to the support of the bolster. And we're going to lie on the ground again with feet on the floor and coming into this relaxation pose 2, and have the arms at the sides. And then follow the movement of breath as you inhale into the belly, ribs, chest. And exhale and take the belly back. And inhale again. And exhale and take the belly back. And stay there. And I'm going to get up though, but stay in that posture and allow yourself an opportunity to feel that your body can start to heal itself. This practice needs to be done every day. And I think that if we're really busy taking care of a lot of responsibilities, it's really a blessing to take half an hour to an hour every day to pay attention to our bodies, to feel that, to be really aware that how we work with our bodies, how we are in our bodies, and to pay attention to creating a sense of a safe space for ourselves and our bodies. Very, very important to have that feeling that the body can be a refuge, regardless of whether the body is in pain or comfort, sick or well, tired or rested, peaceful or agitated. We cultivate a sense of safety so that the body feels that it can relax, that it doesn't have to hold on anymore, that everything that is going on in the body is something that we're going to listen to honor, to pay attention to, and to respect. So if the body is in pain, that's very, very uncomfortable, but we're going to listen to the pain and see what we need to do, because that's a message the body is asking us to please pay attention when the body is in pain. So instead of trying to override that pain, we'll try not to do that anymore. We're going to listen to that pain and what is it trying to tell us, because the body is remarkable, that it has the ability to give us these pain signals when something's going wrong, and then we can pause and pay attention and do what it needs for us. There's a few other things you can try as well in yoga, and I can get into them later. I'll show you one more posture with the bolster before we end, because it is one of my favorites, but it really, this one is a little bit more a little bit deeper in the body than the Shavasana one I showed you. And it's done like this. We call this supported fish pose. So this bolster, and you can use, again, a folded blanket, pillow, or whatever. It goes under the shoulder blades. So when our shoulder blades are very, very tight, there's a tendency for people to put this too far under their lower back. It actually goes under the tightest area of the spine. And then the arm position here is arms overhead, but when we have wrist and elbow and shoulder problems, it's very, very uncomfortable at times to bring the arms to the floor. So arms overhead, resting on a bolster or cushion or two if you need to, and have them even higher, is ideal. And then you inhale here and exhale, and your feet can be on the floor with knees bent to protect the lower back, or you can have your legs long. And again, if this is all you do, this is fantastic. The reason this is an important posture, and when you come up from supported fish, you roll to the side. Actually, another thing to do is side fish. So have your bolster, blanket, pillow wide enough so you can do this very languid rolling from side to side, because it breaks up the adhesions of the connective tissue that are causing all these difficulties in the arms, elbows, wrists. And all those problems, arms, elbows, wrists, in my opinion, my experience, stem from the upper back being out of alignment because of repetitive strain or an injury or an accident or something like that. So when you come up from that, you roll to the side and bring yourself up, and then sit for a few moments and enjoy. You can do any of these exercises that I did singly on their own, or you can do them in the sequence that I gave tonight and see how that works. And you can pause at any time and spend longer periods on one exercise. So thank you, and namaste, and thank you, Yogi Betty, for the fine example of how we should all be